Tonight on NewsWatch, the government is back to work. But now what? Will Congress buckle down and finally tackle America's massive debt? Plus, the unfolding Obamacare crisis, why the early evidence of failure may be a sign of things to come. And Common Core backlash. Is the federal government gaining too much control over America's education system? All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. The U.S. government is back in business for now. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin. Washington is returning to normal after Congress agreed to fund the government and start borrowing more money. The fix is only temporary, but today negotiators finally began talking to each other, a key goal that Republicans were fighting for all along. Lori Johnson has more.
The government is running at full steam. A U.S. debt default has been avoided, and the president essentially got everything he demanded.
We can begin to lift this cloud of uncertainty and unease from our businesses and from the American people.
Many government workers were back on the job today for the first time in over 2 weeks.
I'm just happy to be going back.
But even though the government is back up and running, a new countdown has already begun. The government is only funded until January 15th, and the new debt limit only lasts until early February. Tea Party Republicans are vowing to continue fighting for change in Washington.
This fight, this debate will continue until collectively the American people can make D.C. listen.
This is just a battle. This is not the entire war.
Throughout the shutdown, the news media have hammered Republicans. The Media Research Center survey shows they blamed Republicans a whopping 41 times and Democrats 0 times. But the battle did accomplish one thing. Bipartisan budget negotiators finally sat down today to begin work on a broader deal before the new deadlines hit.
I want to have a budget agreement that gets this debt and deficit under control, that does right by future generations and helps us grow the economy. And we're going to try and figure out if we can find an agreement to do that.
But can they compromise?
Chairman Ryan knows I'm not going to vote for his budget. I know that he's not going to vote for mine. We're going to find the common ground between our two budgets that we both can vote on, and that's our goal.
The group has to buckle down. They have just 8 weeks to accomplish what both sides admit is a monumental task. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Wednesday's spending deal does more than just reopen the government and raise the debt ceiling. It also calls for back pay for government workers who have been furloughed. But critics charge the bill also includes pork barrel spending, such as nearly $3 billion to fund a dam in Kentucky, Senator Mitch McConnell's home state, and a provision to give $174,000 to the widow of one of the richest members of Congress. New Jersey Senator Frank Lautenberg died in June. The sum of money is equal to his annual salary. For more on this, we're joined now by Romina Boccia. She's a federal budgetary affairs fellow at the Heritage Foundation. Romina, some are saying Republicans accomplished nothing with this fight. Do you agree?
I think what's more important is that the American people really were on the losing end of this deal. What we have is a debt limit increase. We have the Obamacare implementation locked in, but the fight is not over yet. The one thing that Republicans did accomplish is that while Democrats for the longest time have been trying to increase spending on domestic programs, they were not able to do that.
Today, a joint House-Senate committee started looking at the budget. Do you think they'll be able to agree on any cutbacks before the next budget showdown, which could be along here quickly in January?
Yeah, so what we're expecting now is that they will produce a report by December 13th, and then there's another deadline on January 15th, at which point the sequester will kick in again for 2014. What can we expect out of this conference? Well, of course, there's a lot of different priorities that lawmakers have, but what's really important is that there are changes to the entitlement programs because they are driving our spending and debt crises. So that will be a measure of success. Are there significant entitlement reforms in this budget proposal? That's how we'll be judging it.
Tea Party Republicans really wanted to stop Obamacare, Romina, before it raises insurance rates and hurts average Americans. Do they have any chance of doing that?
I don't think this fight is over at all. The system itself has many, many glitches. People were having a very hard time signing up. Enrollment numbers are very low, and people are very concerned about this law and how it's already impacting businesses. A lot of people have seen their hours cut back. Many businesses have been very vocal about not hiring because of the uncertainty of this law. So we already know that it's hurting the economy today, and so this is why it's important that we keep pushing against this law to stop Obamacare, because President Obama has given plenty of waivers and exemptions to businesses, to members of Congress, to labor unions. It's time to give the American people a break, too.
The president says this battle has hurt America's image overseas. Is that true?
I think what's really hurting our image is that we're not dealing with the real issues that we have in this country. Our investors abroad, credit rating agencies here, they know that we are in an unsustainable spending trajectory. Our entitlements are consuming 45% of the budget, and they're growing quickly. And you have heard this from credit rating agencies this year in 2011, and you'll keep hearing this. What we need to do is get on a path to balance, and that's how we'll improve our image here and abroad.
All right. Romina Bochia from the Heritage Foundation. Romina, thanks for your time and your insights today.
Thank you.
Most Americans say the country is heading in the wrong direction. A national phone survey shows only 13% of U.S. voters think the country is on the right track. That's down from 17% the week before and the lowest since October 2008. Confidence in the country's direction has fallen 15 points since the beginning of the shutdown. The kickoff of Obamacare has been plagued with problems. The $634 million website has been extremely slow and loaded with glitches, and very few people have been able to sign up for the healthcare exchanges. In the state of Delaware, get this, only one person has been able to join Obamacare after 2 weeks. A company called Millward Brown Digital crunched the numbers nationwide. They found only about 1% succeeded when they tried to sign up. Meanwhile, small businesses are feeling the financial crunch from Obamacare. A well-known ice cream company in Indiana is the latest casualty. Fox 28 TV reports the Bonnie Doon ice cream plant in Elkhart has shut down. The CFO says Obamacare is the last straw that made it impossible to keep going. The healthcare law forces businesses with more than 50 employees to provide insurance. Many companies are trying to figure out how to do that and still stay in business. Obamacare's critics have long been saying that it's bad for the economy and bad for the American people. Gordon D'Angelo is one of those critics. He's the founder and chairman of the Next Financial Group. Recently on our 700 Club program, he told CBN's Pat Robertson that politicians in Washington did not know what they were voting for when they supported the president's bill.
The politicians that were forced to sign it were forced to sign it before reading it. And I don't know anybody intelligent that would sign 2 pages without reading it, more or less 20,000 pages. Yeah. But the people have gotten hurt. Working spouses, for example, have been cut off of programs they were already covered on. A UPS started this and said, look, if they're working somewhere else, let that employer cover them. Yeah. So they've already been hurt. These are facts, not theories about what could happen. Retirees. Amazing. They've worked their whole life. They're retired. Now healthcare becomes more prominent to them. They've been given, in most cases, either a stipend or a fixed amount. This just happened. Some of the biggest employers in the country, IBM, General Electric, DuPont, Time Warner, have all now said, wait a minute, we're putting our retirees on this fixed stipend deal. And though they expect health insurance to rise 70 to 300% in the next 8 years, these retirees are now out on their own to cover increased costs should they come.
John Roberts at the Supreme Court found that act constitutional on the basis of it being a tax. You say opposite. It's unconstitutional. Why?
There's a lot of reasons unconstitutional. First of all, they didn't read it. The people don't know what it's about. Even the politicians who we voted for didn't quite understand it. I challenge them to come on the show and ask them questions. They'll be stuttering. They just don't know. And here's an interesting thing. If it is a federal law, which it is, then you and I could live on the same street, work a block away, make the exact same salary, have the same marital status, and guess what? You could be exempt and I'm not.
Why?
Because because the president has given over 1,400 waivers to corporations and unions and to some government agencies, including the IRS, who's regulating this, that they're exempt from the law. Even the Teamsters got mad because some of their unions were exempt, but not all. So Joe works at one union, he's exempt. Jim works at another, he's not exempt.
In other news, Michigan's ban on gay marriage stays, at least for now. U.S. District Judge Bernard Friedman says he won't rule on whether to overturn the ban. Instead, he's sending the case to trial. It centers around a lesbian couple's lawsuit challenging the state's ban on adoption by unmarried couples. The judge says the plaintiffs are entitled to their day in court after the Supreme Court's decision recognizing legally married gay couples. Gay rights activists were disappointed because if the ban had been lifted, same-sex marriage would have immediately become legal in the state. Traditional marriage supporters rallied in support of keeping the ban.
We believe that marriage is between one man and one woman. It is not two men, it is not two women.
The case is set to go to trial February 25th. The Army has issued a correction after a Christian organization was labeled a hate group in a recent Army briefing. The incident took place at Camp Shelby in Mississippi. The American Family Association was classified as a hate group, along with groups like the Ku Klux Klan and the Black Panthers. But the Clarion Ledger reports the Army investigated and found that the soldier conducting the briefing had not done thorough research. An Army spokesman has issued a correction saying the American Family Association should not be labeled a hate group. As CBN News has reported, this all started earlier this year when the liberal Southern Poverty Law Center labeled numerous Christian organizations as hate groups. Coming up, a microchip in your cup, how one college is tracking students at the soda fountain and blocking them from getting refills.
In 2008, my husband Gary departed for heaven. I was still grieving. And then to find out I had cancer, I began praying, God, how do I do this? Where do I do this? Cancer Treatment Centers of America was the place. Dr. Neelam outlined a plan that would take care of my mind and my body, and she prayed with me.
For Bible-believing Christians, we're able to pray with them in a much deeper way as they begin to really rely upon their faith.
At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, we believe in the power of faith and prayer as indispensable allies in the fight against complex and advanced stage cancer.
I'm back in Telluride on the mountain skiing. I feel strong and healthy.
Advanced medicine and technology.
And I am a survivor.
The warm embrace of the Spirit and the power of prayer.
These are happy tears.
Please go to cancercenter.com/faith. Appointments available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Welcome back. Foods high in sugar and fat could be as addictive to some people as cocaine is to a drug addict. That's the finding from a study at Connecticut College, which used Oreos in a test with lab rats.
Animals exposed to Oreo cookies or high-fat, high-sugar foods will develop a preference that is equivalent to cocaine or morphine.
The study wasn't picking on Oreos. They were just used as a way to get enough sugar and fat to the rats. The study found that foods with high sugar and high fat activated pleasure centers in the brain even more than the equivalents of cocaine or morphine. It isn't clear yet if the findings would be the same in people, but it could indicate some people are literally addicted to junk food. The days of unlimited refills at the University of Southern Indiana have passed. New microchips on the bottom of cafeteria cups track how much students are drinking and when. Students can now only get one refill within 90 minutes of purchasing the beverage, and then they're cut off. The machines won't recognize cups that don't have the tiny stick-on microchips.
That now that I have to actually time myself with it is stupid.
The changes came because students were taking advantage of the old system. School leadership says many were bringing in personal cups and refilling them throughout the day without paying. Facebook announced it is now allowing teenagers to share their posts with anyone on the internet. The change in the network's policy affects users between the ages of 13 to 17. Before, teenagers were only allowed to share their posts with people directly on their network. The change raises concerns about the risk of minors leaving a digital trail.
It flies in the face of what I thought were more recent comments and statements coming from the company that they were going to be more sensitive to parental issues and to safety and security for young people. That's going in the wrong direction, and somebody needs to get a clue.
Facebook said it made the changes to provide teens with a more powerful megaphone when they believe they have an important point to make or a cause to support. Up next, growing concern over the government's Common Core standards for public schools.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't! They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry. Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Stop struggling with heavy hoses that are kinked and deliver little or no water. Or worse, break. Introducing the incredible Flexible Hose. Turn the water on and it expands up to 3 times its original length, so you can easily guide it anywhere you need without tangling. When you turn the water off, as it drains, the hose retracts back to its original shape. Standard rubber hoses can weigh between 8 and 12 pounds, but a 25-foot flexible hose weighs less than a pound. The Flexible Hose is so compact and lightweight, a child can manage a 75-foot hose easily. The Flexible Hose will never kink and is guaranteed to take the mess out of watering your lawn and plants. So washing your windows or spraying off your gutters has never been easier. The Flexible Hose is made of a tough double wall construction that is designed to bend and stretch but never kink.
Flexible Hose is designed like a fire hose for speed, storage, and strength to last a really long time.
Call or visit FlexibleHose.com to order the incredible Flexible Hose for only $19.95. Call right now and we will include a 7-way adjustable spray nozzle free. You can choose a full action spray, a gentle mist, a powerful jet, a vertical mist, flat spray, a cone spray, or a soaker setting. So stop coiling your hose with bulky devices. Flexible Hose automatically retracts in seconds and weighs less than 1 pound. In fact, a 75-foot hose easily fits in a small bucket and stores away neatly in a drawer. Flexible Hose saves you precious space on boats and is perfectly portable for RVs. But wait, order today and we'll give you a second Flexible Hose system free. Just pay separate processing and handling. That's 2 Flexible Hoses and 2 7-way adjustable spray nozzles, a $40 value, all for only $19.95. This offer is not available in any store. Order now.
To order Flexible Hose and take advantage of this amazing double offer, call 1-800-769-3384 or go to flexiblehose.com. Remember, this offer is not available in stores, so call now.
45 states have adopted new standards for public education in what's called the Common Core curriculum. But a growing number of parents and teachers don't like it. They say it takes away local control of schools and violates the Constitution. Heather Sells has that story.
Just a few miles off Long Island's North Shore, Superintendent Joe Rella oversees 3,700 students in the Comstock School District. He initially welcomed the educational effort known as Common Core, but quickly lost his faith.
Pretty early on, it was clear that there wasn't going to be a dialogue on this between districts and the state education department. It was one-way communication, and we began to receive a lot of materials, edicts, scripts.
45 states have adopted the standards. New York and Kentucky became the first to put them to the test. The results, major failure. In New York, less than a third of the students passed. English and math scores dropped 50% from traditional test scores the year before. For Rella, the scores became a literal rallying point as he called on the Comstock community to fight back.
In August, 1,500 parents, teachers, kids gathered from this small community here on this football field to protest just what had happened in their community since Common Core took effect.
Stop it, fix it, or scrap it. All right. We're asking for, at least in my district, and it's growing around New York, among parents especially, is stop it right now. Examine it.
Parents in at least 20 states agree with the Comstock parents. They're pushing legislation to temporarily block the standards. In Illinois, Congressman Randy Holtgren wants a review.
So many questions are still there that the right thing to do is really follow the lead of Indiana, and their legislature said, let's wait on this.
The story behind Common Core's creation helps explain some of the controversy. Two trade associations, the Council of Chief State School Officers and the National Governors Association, developed the standards and then copyrighted them, making any change impossible. The chief author, David Coleman, is now president of the College Board. His next mission, rewrite the SAT. It's a move that could further cement the Core's influence. Billionaire philanthropist and Microsoft founder Bill Gates is the money behind the program. His foundation has spent more than $160 million to create and promote the standards. Critics dismiss them as elitist.
The people were cut out of the process. They weren't given notice as to what was happening.
Emmett McGroarty calls the Core's creation simply undemocratic, with little public input and no accountability. He also believes giving the federal government such a role in education is unconstitutional. McGroarty is joined by a grassroots, largely mom-led movement across the country. CBN News recently met with a group of parents-turned-activists in New York. Each shares a similar story, discovering the Core and its changes only when their children began to struggle at school with new worksheets and ways of explaining math concepts.
Come January, all of a sudden I noticed that their homework changed a lot. It was very confusing. I didn't understand it.
But it was never publicized, and there were certainly never any public hearings or any discussions among parents about the fact that this was going to be a major, a paradigm shift in how almost everything happens in school.
The challenge now, how to take back control of the classroom when a copyrighted standard dictates so much.
If a parent has a problem with Common Core state standards, I guess they'll call up, Arnie Duncan, maybe?
Duncan, the Secretary of Education, helped to quickly usher in the Core with one big incentive, race to the top funding. He essentially offered more than $4 billion in grants to states that adopted the standards. And many education reformers are backing Duncan. They say the standards raise the bar for all the states and ensure that the next generation will be able to compete globally.
The Common Core standards are designed to be fewer standards at each grade level, to be clearer so that teachers really can understand by looking at them, and parents as well, what children are supposed to be learning, but also to go deeper in specific content areas.
It is much higher critical thinking skills. It demands of young people more writing, more listening, and verbal ability to explain your points of view.
Edelin and other Core supporters also challenge the notion that the Core strips away local control.
It's a set of standards. It's not a curriculum. It doesn't teach you how to teach. It doesn't dictate to anybody what you must teach.
But Joe Rella disagrees. He says the district is already buying materials aligned to the Common Core test to improve student scores.
We can do what we want with it, but our students are still going to be subject to tests based on it.
The big questions: will the standards actually deliver and produce a new competitive generation? And how many states will stay on board? With parents applying pressure and politicians calling for a second look, they may in effect hit a giant pause button.
My hope is that they will be successful and that we'll go back to doing what we were doing successfully before, educating our kids locally.
Reporting in New York, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today. A little girl from California used her love of gardening to raise awareness for breast cancer. 6-year-old Chloe Slayton set up a stand on a sidewalk to sell pumpkins, but these are not ordinary orange pumpkins. Though they're white now, they'll turn pink in a couple of weeks. Chloe donated all the money she raised to a local radio personality who was diagnosed with breast cancer a year ago.
I do have significant amount of medical bills, and that's what she wanted to do, and she did this all on her own. I mean, at 6 years old, to have compassion and empathy. I don't know adults that have that.
We're just beyond proud of Chloe to so selflessly do something like this, but yet, you know, to be so innocent and to still think that it's a fun treat for her to get to be a part of.
And they should be proud. Chloe grew about 60 of the pink pumpkins and raised $791 for Nikki's medical bills. That's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch. Good night.